Hello and welcome to the program UFO Warning. In this episode, we're talking about Pentagon UFO videos about to drop and what they don't want you to see. That's correct. Pentagon UFO videos about to drop and what they don't want you to see. There's been a lot of talk about this in the news lately. It seems that Congress is demanding the release of 46 classified UFO videos, with 45 have never been seen by the public. Now, the footage reportedly includes radar data, thermal imaging, satellite visuals, and even underwater recordings, with some cases involving unidentified submerged objects, that's USOs. And the lawmakers say the urgency comes from repeated sightings near sensitive U.S. military sites, which raises serious national security concerns. Seems like these so-called drones are hovering over these military bases every other day. According to insiders, the videos are shocking, allegedly showing craft capable of instant acceleration and highly advanced maneuvers. Now, unlike older footage, some of the clips are said to be clear, full-color recordings. One particularly striking report describes objects moving in and out of the ocean near a classified submarine. That's kind of a big deal, really, because how would they even find this submarine? However, there's an important caveat. No aliens or beings appear in the footage, and officials acknowledge that some sightings could be advanced U.S. military technology, not extraterrestrial. So you can already see the debunkers kind of coming out right now, because we have had a lot of talk about extraterrestrial breeding programs. I mean, it's been all over the map. But what we're talking about here, it could just be blobs on a screen. We really have to wonder. Behind the scenes, tensions are high. Intelligence officials are reportedly monitoring the files closely to prevent tampering. Oh, yeah, we can hope, huh? And whistleblowers may come forward if anything is altered or withheld. Now, the Department of War is expected to turn over the videos by April 14th, 2026. Yeah, the day before tax day. Man, I don't know. Now, Congress is pushing for transparency on a large collection of previously unseen UFO footage, while insiders suggest the material could reveal highly unusual aerial and underwater craft. There's still no confirmed evidence of extraterrestrial life, and some explanations may remain entirely human-made. What I like about this is at least we have some congressmen working on it. Now, remember when we had the last three videos released, the Tic Tac videos, it was such a mess. You had Louis Elizondo involved, you had Chris Mellon involved, you had Tom DeLonge involved. The videos were reportedly passed from one person to another in a Pentagon parking lot, and then DeLonge was able to post those on his website, Academy to the Stars. Boy, whatever happened to that, huh? Got a lot of notoriety, and I think maybe even made a little money off it. Seems like that video was monetized. Definitely had their watermark all over it. And the whole thing was just a dog and pony show, as far as I can see. It was almost like those last three videos were used to launch the career of Louis Elizondo, bring Chris Mellon on, for being basically a long-time government employee to being the current UFO expert. And a lot of questions were never answered. I mean, the chain of custody, how did those videos get from the hands of a Pentagon person to the hands of Louis, to the hands of the lady at the New York Times, to Tom DeLonge? I mean, it was just a circus, and I thought it was terrible the way it was handled. And then you had the videos, so without chain of custody, everybody was able to come in and say, well, this is just fake, or this is that, or this is the other thing. It was awful the way it was done. I almost feel like the whole thing was more of a psyop than anything. I mean, if it was for real, why didn't they just do it above board? Why all the cloak and dagger stuff, and why all the I know secrets, but if I told you the secrets, I'd have to kill you type stuff? A lot of crazy talk, man. I like this better because, like they're saying, there's 46 videos, 45 of them haven't been released. Now we got representatives like Tim Burchett and Representative Luna and even former Representative Matt Gaetz. A lot of these guys in Congress, more the House of Representatives than anything, seem to be really going after this stuff. And I guess the question will be is, what they probably have just seen the tip of the iceberg. I mean, what else is out there? And they're telling us that what they've seen is pretty spectacular. Why is the War Department still just dragging their feet? I mean, maybe Pete Hegseth hasn't seen these. You have to wonder what he's even being told. This article here from the New York Post, they don't do too bad of a job on it. It came out April 4th, 2026. It says that Congress demands Department of War release 46 secret UFO videos. You're going to see some weird effing S. So, yeah, someone's so excited they're using a couple of expletives there. Members of Congress are demanding 46 military videos from the Department of War, which insiders say offer convincing proof that advanced non-human craft are operating on Earth. Representative Anna Paulina Luna requested the long list of explosively titled files on Wednesday, which included 45 previously unreleased military clips. Well, I guess we should be happy that at least they didn't pass these things off in a Pentagon parking lot to somebody so they could build their UFO channel. The presence of unidentified aerial phenomena in and around the sensitive airspace of U.S. military installations poses a threat to the security of the armed forces and their readiness, according to the April 1st letter addressed to Secretary Pete Hegseth. It was April 1st, but it was no April Fool's joke. Those with knowledge of the long list of videos, which includes titles like several UAP in vicinity of Columbus, Ohio airport, and UFOs in formation over Persian Gulf, said the clips are shocking. You are going to see some weird expletive, a source who has viewed the videos told the Post. The wildest clips include radar footage from thermal sensors, satellite images, and underwater photos of swarms of unidentified submerged objects, the insider said. Yet again, anonymous sources, insiders. I mean, if we only knew, if we just had some sort of transparency here, it would be awesome. One video shows several UFOs going in and out of the water near a highly classified submarine, according to the source. Some of the clips are in clear, full color, setting them apart from previously released footage. None show alien creatures. One video on the list, titled Syrian UAP Instant Acceleration 2021, was released on February 3rd by independent journalist Jeremy Corbell. Not sure how Jeremy got his hands on this. That military radar footage showed a small circular craft that is followed by a radar operator before it zooms off, demonstrating instantaneous acceleration, a marker of advanced science not known to man. Okay, cool video, but the problem is when this stuff is released like this with no chain of custody, how do we know what it is? I mean, yeah, it does look like it's some kind of military stuff, but it's got Jeremy Corbell's watermark up in the corner of it. I mean, this really, nothing against Jeremy, but this isn't the way this stuff should be released. It ought to be released on a website somewhere where we can all look at it. Some craft may have conventional explanations, such as secretive U.S. military projects, according to the insider. Congress is not going into this request blind, with two sources telling the Post moles within the intelligence community have eyes on the files being requested, and they'll blow the whistle if the videos are moved, altered, or deleted by anyone. I don't know, moles or plants. The Department of War is expected to hand over the clips by April 14th, according to the letter. Luna's office did not respond to the request for comment. That's a pretty tall order, hoping that these things will be released within just less than a week now. I mean, really wild stuff. Now, in light of what I just talked about, and also what I just read, where these congressmen are talking about how dangerous these UFOs are, the fact they've got 45 unreleased videos, that these things have been buzzing around our naval bases, buzzing around our top secret submarines, harassing our Navy, doing all kinds of things they shouldn't be doing around our military, and they're saying, hey, this is a threat to the security of the United States, and we want to have a look at what we're dealing with. And they just keep getting stonewalled by the Department of War. Now they're supposed to release these videos by the 14th of April. I guess we'll see. Against that backdrop, I want to remind you of an article that came out a couple, 3 weeks ago, March 16, 2026. This is on Defense Scoop. They do a lot of pretty serious reporting here. Pentagon's Arrow quietly held an invite-only workshop to help the future of UAP research. Yeah, that's actually a serious headline. Pentagon's Arrow quietly held an invite-only workshop to help shape the future of UAP research. Now, while your congressmen and women, some of them, are really doing their level best to get their hands on this stuff, we have Arrow holding secret workshops. I want to give you just a little tiny bit of background about Arrow. You can find this on ChatGPT. Who is the current director? John T. Kozlowski, appointed in 2024, oversees all Pentagon investigations into UFO/UAP activity. So he's the guy in charge of investigating UFOs, and they're having secret invite-only meetings. It says former head Sean Kirkpatrick, of course we've all heard of him, was the first director, 22-23, just long enough to pick up the check, become recognizable enough to appear as a debunker-in-chief on all these podcasts and videos and television shows and whatnot. Make a nice life that way. My opinion. What do I know? What is the salary? This is where things get less transparent. Really, they work for us. They work for the U.S. government, but we're not allowed to know how much money they make. We know how much the President of the United States makes, but we are not allowed to know how much the head of AARO makes. Says the exact public salary for the AARO director is not officially published. However, we can estimate based on comparable U.S. government positions. A realistic salary range. Senior DoD civilian leadership, that's a SES level, typically earns $170,000 to $200,000 per year. So what is that, about $3,000 to $4,000 a week? Must be nice. Senior Executive Service pay scales. Director reporting to Deputy Secretary of Defense. Oh yes, it all aligns. Arrow, Pentagon's Official Investigation Office. Director John T. Kozlowski. Salary not publicly known, but high six figures, 170 to 200,000. Yeah, thanks ChatGPT. Isn't that awesome? Making 200 grand a year, having invite-only meetings at a swank hotel somewhere. Gotta wonder who got there. Gotta wonder who got their invite. Approximately 40 government, academic, and independent researchers met at a private workshop last year to standardize processes for capturing, sharing, studying narrative data on unidentified anomalous phenomena, which is the modern term for UFOs that accounts for maritime and trans-medium objects. In other words, you're so stupid you can't report your own UFO. We have a way to report these. It's called NewFork. We don't need to pay somebody $4,000 a week to tell us how to do it. We don't need to have expensive meetings where 40 guests are invited to a swank hotel, who knows what the fee bill cost, to come up with a way to make reporting a UFO more difficult. Always the gatekeepers, man. And anyway, the article just goes on for quite a little ways here, and it is just one giant word salad. I guess that's part of it. If you're going to make $200,000 a year working for the government, you need to be able to create word salads, and they seem to be quite adept at that. We'll finish up here. Look at this one last article talking about these 45 unreleased Department of War videos. This article is from Cyber News. You can find it over at cybernews.com. Congress shown classified UAP videos that defy physics, quote unquote, lawmaker says. Now, this is dated February 6, 2026, so it's been a couple months ago. This story has been brewing for a little bit. U.S. Congressman Eric Burleson says classified UAP videos shown in a closed-door Pentagon briefing depict objects defying physics as lawmakers push for greater UFO transparency, whistleblower access, and declassification of hidden footage. Speaking on a debut podcast named Aliens last night, Burleson said the videos he saw showed objects moving in ways he described as defying physics. The footage remains classified. Neither the public nor independent scientists have been allowed to review it, and even members of Congress say their access is limited, which has ramped up the curiosity in the Reddit community. Yeah, well, we're going to show you some pictures here. We're going to give you a little bit of a hint what's going on. We're going to pique your curiosity a little bit and then just leave you hanging. It says, and even if the evidence remains locked away, it shows how far the UAP, I would say UFO issue, has moved inside the government as it inches closer to more mainstream recognition. Well, there's just so many of these things flying around, it gets to a point where you can't deny them any longer. I mean, you have thousands and thousands and maybe millions of people like myself who really didn't believe in UFOs, who really thought it was a joke, who really thought people were imagining things, happens to come right up on one of them, and then they're just like, wow, I can't believe that. So when it's your own lying eyes, it does seem to change you a bit, and that's happening to more and more people. It's almost like these things are revealing themselves to people, maybe at a rate where it becomes normalized, where society won't come unraveled. You know, I didn't think people would come unraveled with the revelation about UFOs, you know, the average sheep. But after the last flu outbreak, I've changed my mind on that. I've seen just how crazy people can get. It was way worse than I thought it would be. I really overestimated the need to panic in people. People just seem to need to panic about stuff. Why Burleson is speaking out, it says, Burleson's comments come amid growing frustration in Congress over how UFO and UAP-related information is classified and controlled by the Department of Defense. To overcome those access limits, Burleson says whistleblower Matthew Brown is helping lawmakers identify where UAP-related records are stored across the federal system. These things are hidden everywhere. And not just the federal system. You know, we've talked about this dozens of times on a program about how these special access programs where nobody has access to them, how these things are hidden within private companies where you can't get to them. I mean, the deep state is diversified, if nothing else. Burleson has stressed that he's not claiming proof of extraterrestrial life, but that one of the asks that I've put into the White House, and I think they legitimately are trying to make happen, is a series of visits to some of these locations. I'm not sure that'll do any good. Honestly, they'll just move the stuff, or you won't be allowed in. It's like trying to audit the gold in Fort Knox. Probably not going to happen. Though politically vague, the request marks an escalation, with Congress asking the White House to step in after some lawmakers said they were shown limited UAP footage while being denied full access to classified records. We're currently in an effort to get access to about 24 videos, said Burleson on the podcast. Now, he's saying 24, and the other source is saying 45. 45 videos that they don't want you to see. What is so important about these videos that they don't want you to see? I mean, if it's not UFOs, is it some sort of foreign actor? Is it some sort of treasonous third column within our own country? What is it about these 45 videos that have been identified by Congress that the deep state is so intent that you are never allowed to see? That's the real question to me. I mean, and while we have congressmen dutifully trying to release this stuff, I mean, God bless them. I hope they get it done. But while they're trying to do this, we have the people over at Arrow having invite-only meetings where they talk about things like how to streamline reporting, anything they can do to muck up the water. And we're paying for it. $200,000 a year or thereabouts. It's nuts. It's nuts. That's why I guess I have to go back to what I always say. The only way we're going to get disclosure on this is if we do it ourselves. And I think a big resource on this is New Fork. That's why I go over there all the time and talk about the sightings. It helps people realize that they are not the only one that are seeing these things. We may not have the answers yet, but at least we're collecting the data. And it seems as though the data that the deep state is collecting, anything they get their hands on, they're going to use it to their own advantage. Whether or not these videos are released or not, I mean, who knows? But if they are released, I hope that it's above board. Hey, if you like the program, don't forget to hit like, follow, subscribe. I get a lot of listeners on Apple. That's where the majority of the listeners come in at. So if you like the program and you listen on Apple, I know it's kind of a pain. I know it's a little bit of work. But if you could just leave a good review there or a good rating, it does help the program out. It does get it up in the algorithm. And it only takes one person, you know, that says, oh, well, this guy gets a 1, to really just to nail your program. It's crazy that it works that way. because we just talk about a lot of different things here. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. But like I said, if you like the program, don't forget to hit like, follow, subscribe. It really does help. Until next time, this is UFO Warning, over and out.